Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and bored babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers, the #1 wiper blades in America.
Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary persons, Roy Clark and Buck Owens, the audio presentation you are about to enjoy discusses casinos and gambling. Please do not gamble with money you cannot afford to lose or that is needed to pay bills. Our hosts' past performances are not indicative of anyone's future results. If you have a gambling problem, contact your local problem gambling hotline. If you do not know how to contact your local problem gambling hotline, send an email to help@casinocombat.com and we will find that information for you and make sure that you have it. Everything discussed in this podcast is based in facts. Names and dates may be altered to protect the innocent and the guilty. Minor items unrelated to outcomes may be omitted in the interest of brevity and clarity. It's me, it's TRG, the Ramblin Gambler, a traveling man who has made a lot of stops all over this world. Welcome to episode 84 of our Casino Combat Podcast. I am your never so humble host, TRG, in the constant pursuit of excellence of execution in all aspects of casino gambling. If you are new to all of this, welcome. If you return to join me again, thank you so very much for the privilege of your time. We have a bunch of stuff going on with the squad this past week, so let's get started with all of that. Let me update you on what's been going on with the squad. Let's start with the best of news, the most wonderful of news. The inner circle may be full. We've finished the inner circle, but interest in playing the game and figuring out the location of my home casino, Casino 2, remains very, very high. So I am thrilled to report to you that David Same Bet Carlin, the host of the YouTube channel Same Bet, became the founding member of the Casino Combat Excelsior Brigade. Same Bet was quickly joined by the second member of the brigade, Power Press Chips. So we've got Same Bet, Dave Carlin, and we've got Power Press Chips, both as the first and second member of the Casino Combat Excelsior Brigade. We are thrilled to welcome both of them. If you are interested in joining them in the Excelsior Brigade, the details for the game are in episode number 22 of our podcast. Next up, boots on the ground correspondent JC, our expert on gambling conditions in the Philadelphia and Atlantic City region, sent some interesting data. It seems that for a period of time, the Philadelphia casinos were requiring proof of a COVID vaccination to enter the casino. And what happened? This is what JC was interested in. What happened was that wins went down by 20%. It would appear that the requirement caused a significant number of players to decide that that's not something they wanted to deal with. And the result was the money is the more important part. The requirement to have that type of identification was removed. JC also commented that Pennsylvania has the best rules. And so I did some research and I dug into that. And you know what? That's correct. The gambling rules, more specifically the blackjack rules in the Keystone State, yes, I had to look that up. The rules in the Keystone State as it applies to blackjack are excellent. It appears that pretty much all the casinos have 3-2 payouts for blackjack, stand on soft 17, and allow surrender regardless of the table minimums. That is an excellent set of rules. If you are looking for the best possible rules and reasonable prices, it would appear Pennsylvania is the place to play blackjack. Wow, that was just a casino for Pennsylvania. That should be a travel commercial of some type, huh? So the next point, I was emailing back and forth with Inner Circle member Virginia Casino player Jug, VCPD, and he was saying that he'd really like to have a place where for the squad to gather and exchange stories and trip reports and results and techniques and all of that kind of stuff. And that's my bad, guys, gals, folks. That is my bad. Billy with the great last name, who helps with social media, actually built all of this. If you're on Facebook and you search for the casino, do a search on Casino Combat Squad, we have a group there. We have a group there that you can join. Obviously, that's free, and that is intended by Billy to be a place for everyone. I'll try to get there eventually, but it's space for everyone who considers themselves a member of the squad, everyone who listens to this podcast in whatever way, shape, or form, to talk to each other, to have dialogue, to share what's going on with them, good, bad, otherwise, to share results, to talk about whatever it is that they'd like to talk about. We're not doing real heavy moderation. Be nice, be kind. Don't be rude and abusive to people. Other than that, it's mostly about discussing gambling, casino lifestyle, casino gambling, those kinds of things. But it's all there. And the other point that I will make while we're talking about Facebook is that the website has been completely redone, rebuilt, revamped, expanded, and we have all our social media links, not just for Facebook, but also for Twitter and YouTube and Instagram. Those are all at the top of the page. Sometimes we're putting a lot of stuff out. Sometimes we're putting a little stuff out. But this is the point where I have an obligation as a creator, as someone involved in social media. Apparently there is a contract somewhere, a rule of law, something that when I mention social media, then I also have to beg you to help us and support us. They seem to go hand in hand. If you're around our social media in any way, shape, or form, likes, shares, subscribes, reviews, stars, bars, whatever the method for that particular platform is, if you have extras of those, if you have those and you can spare them, we can use them. They will help us grow. They will help us get noticed. So, VCPD is already part of the Facebook group Casino Combat Squad, as are a couple of our other listeners, including someone in Africa, and I heard that, and I do have to have Billy reach out and see if that's a listener or someone that just found the group at random, but let's grow that, everybody. If you're on Facebook and you want to interact with other members, other people who listen to the podcast, that is a place to do that. The next thing going on in the Casino Combat galaxy that I wanted to run through today is that last episode, I was talking a little bit about a prompt from Inner Circle member East Coast Emissary, where he was asking about reasons for abandoning blackjack basic strategy. If there were ever those situations, if there were ever reasons to not use basic strategy. And I ran into another one between the time that I did that episode and this one, and it's when I made a mistake. And I realized after the fact that that was an excellent application of ECE's prompt. So here's the setup. I had a coupon, I had a free bet, and generally speaking, in my experience, all the time, everywhere, when you are given a free bet, it is an even money bet. You cannot go to a roulette table, bet it on 18, and get paid 36 to 1. You cannot play it on the carnival games that pay 10, 20, 30 to 1. You can't put it on side bets. And so it will say, usually right on the coupon, valid for even money bets, which instantly your first thought might be, if you're a blackjack player as I am, well, then I can't bet it on blackjack. So the next part of this is that generally speaking, most casinos make an exception and say, you can bet your free bet on blackjack. However, if you get a blackjack, we're only paying you even money. That's just the rules of the coupon and the game, at least everywhere I've ever been. So, okay. Now, you just rambled all around that, TRG. What does ECE's question about basic strategy and coupons paying even money, what do they have to do with each other, and how in the world did that turn into a mistake? You know me. Story to get to the story about the story. So now that we have all the background on all of that, here's the mistake. I have a coupon. It's a nice coupon. Nice amount of money printed on the front of it as a free bet that I'm going to win if I win the bet that I make. And I bet it on blackjack. I bet it at the appropriate time where it matches a bet I would normally be making. And I receive a blackjack. And the dealer has an ace showing. And I know the math. I know that there's just right around a 30% chance that she's going to have a blackjack. And I know the math says, the basic strategy says that I should never take even money. We've talked about this on at least one occasion, that even money is not the correct play here. Except it is, isn't it? If you think about it. The coupon is only going to pay even money no matter what. If she has a blackjack, I'm going to push. If she doesn't have a blackjack, I'm going to get paid the amount on the coupon. The correct play in this situation, once again, very narrow, very unique, but the correct play in this situation is to not use basic strategy. The correct play is to take even money. That's the right play. That's the thing to do. Get paid for sure, 100%. Don't risk pushing and then getting in a situation where you lose the money on the next hand. Just take the money and be done. You can't do better than even money on this wager. Made the mistake, made the mental note not to make it again in the future. That was partly because of ECE's prompt, and for that reason, I kind of wanted to circle back to that and talk about that with you today and mention that that is another place where your best bet is to not use basic strategy, but instead to take even money. So what's the battle plan for the episode? What are we going to talk about today? I did a lot of traveling last week, almost a ridiculous amount of traveling in many ways based on some promotions and family commitments and the way things worked out. And it was the last full week of February, not all of February, but the last full week of February. So we will start off this episode with a travel segment so I can kind of go through those results, tell you where we went, tell you what we did, kind of document our results, because why would you do what I teach, do what I talk about, trust me, if you don't hear my results. If I lose, and I tell you I lost. If I win, and we make some observations along the way, and we are going to start with a travel segment and do just exactly that. Then we are going to have a quick moment of casino wisdom, and we are going to revisit one of the most important wisdoms, wisdom number 23, and we are going to do that from a slightly different point of view and reach kind of an interesting result, I think, intellectually. It's a thought exercise, but it's going to show you another way to look at a very common casino thing that I just saw a twist on recently. And then we will finish up, kind of a short episode this week perhaps, but we will finish up in the virtual VIP lounge and review all of the results for the month of February, including the results for the 28th, which is actually part of the next week. So there we go. We updated you on the Galaxy. You know what's been going on with the squad. We are going to do travel, moment of casino wisdom, and then virtual VIP and results for the month of February 2022. That's the plan. Let's get started and have a travel segment. Okay, busy week last week. A lot going on. We tried to do a good job of planning around our promotions. In fact, I think we did do a good job of planning around our promotions, but it's also true that led to a lot of running around, a lot of places, a lot of states. I'll try to go through this as quickly and accurately as I can. So the week starts with President's Day, and Mrs. TRG is a teacher, and so President's Day is a day that she has off, and we're looking at things, and we both have nice My Choice related promotions. About an hour and a half west of our house at a My Choice property that doesn't have a hotel, but is very close to her mother's house. And so we decided to go over, get all our free stuff, and then do a late lunch, early dinner with Mom, and kind of do two things in one trip. Now, let's be honest. The result of that is that our time roll is a little constrained. Bankroll and time roll, equally important. Agreeing to a time to go to lunch with somebody off property means that we have kind of artificially limited our time roll. There is a point there where even if you're winning, you got to kind of break Mrs. TRG's rule, and you got to go ahead and leave, and you got to go ahead and keep your appointment with Mom and do what you said you were going to do. Didn't really impact us, not really a big deal. Just want to acknowledge it up front that sometimes you got to break your own rules, at least in little small ways, in order to fit everything in. So we had good free bets. We had bonus free bets because it was President's Day. It's always good to take a look at your promotions around holidays, particularly Monday holidays. There's a good chance the casinos are throwing in something extra. We started off by each playing a losing slot machine. We hit 2 blackjack tables. We had a nice run at the craps table. Mrs. TRG won about a third of a day's pay. I basically ended up right back at zero when we left the craps table, but it was the right time to leave from a total process point of view. Got a ton of tier credits, right? I'll take a 0 exit from a craps table where I neither win nor lose any money. I'll take that and the points that go with it all day. I mean, at some point you got to make some money, but I'll take tier credits and not losing money as my second choice. Bottom line, to be as succinct, I guess, as possible. Bottom line, we left the casino with enough money to pay for the gas and the meal. So we won some money, not a lot of money, but paid for the gas, paid for the food. That's casino life funding real life. I'm happy when casino life funds real life. That's an excellent combination. Drive over where we wanted to drive anyway, get our free stuff, and then win enough money to pay for the trip that we wanted to make. Back in town, Tuesday, local casino. If you've been listening for a while, you kind of know how this goes, right? Roll in, parking comp, that's important. Downtown area, parking's expensive. Free bet, free slot play. Win some money with the free slot play using TRG Slot Strategy 1. If you want to know what that is, download the Slot Tactics ebook from the Fred section of the website, CasinoCombat.com. Always available anytime that you need it. I spent some time hanging out with Gabriel at a craps table. He had just won some money. He wanted to have a drink and hang out a little bit, so I did that. Unfortunately, I lost some money, but then won back what I lost. Hanging out with Gabriel at a series of blackjack tables, leaving with a nice profit of 2 days' pay. Nice win. Wednesday, went to a client, the client that's by the horse track, so stopped at the horse track on the way back, got some cake pans. Not exactly sure what cake pans are specifically, but Mrs. TRG said we needed them. So a gift that she's going to actually use. And of course, I had free slot play. That was really the reason for stopping. And unfortunately, it's a good thing I got the cake pans because I think this may be a record low win with free slot play. At least free slot play greater in value than $3. I won 50 cents. And it was about a tenth of a day's pay that I got to play. And I was headed down, and I'm going to tell you about it in just a second, but I was headed down to my local casino, and I thought, you haven't put any money through here in a while. It's been months and months and months since you actually used any of your own money here. You may very well play a slot machine when you get to the next stop. Why not put a little money in and keep this good thing going? And so I spent some time playing Wicked Panda, which is a machine that often works out well for me, and had a nice win there, had a nice meaningful win. The Panda was good to me for a change. And from there, down to my local casino, parking comp again, very quick visit. I love these visits when they're local visits. Saw a dealer that I know well, known her for years. She actually used to be a dealer after she was a player. When I met her, she and her sisters were all players at Casino One. Then eventually they became dealers at Casino One. And then eventually when gambling became legal in my state, they moved, and at least two of the three are now dealers at my local casino and have been since it opened. Excellent dealer. She does an excellent job. Known her forever. And she had no one at her table. I sat down, played roughly half a shoe because I won every single hand except the last one. Won the first two hands. Went up half a unit, won the next hand to the point where I hit my, theoretical max on the progressive side. That's going up when you win, betting more after wins. Get to that 2.5 unit level. Doesn't happen very often. Won a double at that level, won a blackjack at that level, won another hand at that level, then lost and went, why bother? Why do anything more than that? I have a profit of more than a day's pay. This part of gambling as a job. Weekends are sometimes gambling for fun too, or gambling for a profit while having fun. But why not get out the door? So out the door I was. Thursday. Now I'm planning around promotions again, and in kind of a weird way. If you've been listening for a while, you know that if I go 2.5 hours west and a little bit north of my home, there is a group of 3 casinos all in the same city, all within literally about 10 minutes of each other. And I've been really, really, really wanting to get to the point where this group of casinos, one of them, because they have 2 of our brands, they have a My Choice and they have an MGM there. And so 2 of our brands, I really want to get this area, not property, because there's 2 properties there. I've been trying for well over a year to get one of them to start comping us on Friday and Saturday nights so that we can make this a place that we go on dates, a place that we can go on couples trips. And lo and behold, I got an email after my last trip to that area. I got an email from them with some days when I could have a comped night. And one of them was a Thursday, which let me use a very nice, more than a third, almost a half a day's pay comp bet on Thursday and then do the same thing on Friday. So almost a day's pay in comp bets, which are like free bets for all practical purposes. So that promotion was too good to pass up, and something I felt like I needed to do. So off I go on Thursday and head over right back to the same place that we were on Monday, because once again at that My Choice property, that My Choice 1.5 hours west, which is literally on the road. It's one of those, once again, off the highway, one stoplight, parking garage, casino, free bet, blackjack, just like the day before, quick shoe, won a day's pay, out the door. And back on the road, one stoplight, highway, and I figured why not, even though the room comp wasn't at the MGM, the room comp was at the My Choice. It's like, why not stop at MGM? Why not show them a little love? Why not put a little action on my card? Why not collect those points? I had some free slot play, playing slots with my own money, Slot Strategy El Numero Dos, 2 different winning machines. So that was excellent and positive. Blackjack was rough. Blackjack was a lot of just small little nibbly losses. I'd win a few units and then lose 7 out of my play stack and be up and off the table. I even at one point took a break and got a cocktail, played some video poker, very expensive cocktail, got beat up for just less than a third of a day's pay playing video poker. Tried to meta martingale video poker, didn't work out. Hit one more blackjack table and actually did kind of a zero exit. I was up 4 or 5 units and trying to get to that 8 to 10 unit win that I always try to get to. And the pit boss came by and said that on the next shoe, I was going to say next table, but the next shoe, that the table minimum was going to go up by about 50%, which was going to push me above the level I'd been playing. Not that I hated it, but it's going to push me up to another level, additional money. I didn't need additional money from my bankroll. That's all fine. But as I'm playing and losing, it's like, why make 3 more bets to get to my normal stopping point if I'm losing and try to turn this around when I could just leave the table ahead $5? No reason to keep playing in my mind. So that's exactly what I did. I could have played the rest of the shoe and then had the table limit go up and then made a decision. But it was like, I've got another casino in 10 minutes and I have a free room and I have nice comp bet. I have a food comp. Why not just stop and take this meaningless win, this basically zero exit, and move on? So that's exactly what I did. I made that transition, got a very nice comped room, 28th floor. I think that's one of the benefits of being a rewards member. They always put me on a nice tall floor, great view. As I said, I had the comp bet, I had the room comp, I had a food comp. An interesting thing happened. A really interesting thing happened when I was standing there in the room getting ready to go down to the casino floor. I thought, okay, you spent the whole day from the time you left your house. You bought this with cash. You bought this with cash, because you hit the breakfast place on the way through and you needed some gasoline, and you did gambling in 3 different casinos and you hit some slot machines. And I just, rather than run through all the numbers in the app, I counted everything up. And despite nibbly, as I said, nibbly little losses at the MGM property, I actually had more cash in my hand than I had when I left my house in the morning. So that's always a good and positive thing. That's always a thing I like to see. It's a nice quick way to take a look. So losing blackjack table, dinner comped, losing blackjack table, and now it's feeling like a not so fun trip, right? Now it's feeling a little bit like a drag. So I went ahead and did meta martingale, doubled my unit size. That allowed me to go into their high limit room. I always enjoy hanging out in high limit rooms and playing, and ended up playing for several hours before I hit my positive exit, had a nice big win, over 3 days pay. And now I'm thinking, okay, well, what else can I do while I'm here? I'm not going to get dug in real deep on anything. I'm not going to risk this. I've just kind of had a nice win to offset some of those nibbling little losses as I was describing them. But there was a $15 craps table. Low stakes craps, relatively speaking. So peeled off a little bit of the win and spent another couple hours playing craps. Got a lot of points. won just a little bit of money. So that all worked. It was a nice way to end my evening. Been looking for that. I appreciate that Gabriel kind of brought me into this. I appreciate that Gabriel showed me that there was some other value to craps besides just playing it perfectly and either winning or losing decent amounts of money, that there is craps for points, a way to spend time, a way to spend casino time, which I always enjoy, and win a few bucks and get a lot of value on the next visit. Next day, I was up early, needed to get moving early in my mind, played my comp bet at a blackjack table, could not win anything. Gotta be honest, these comp bets are nice. The dollar amounts are really nice. I have yet to win one of them, however. I think I've had 3, maybe 4 comp bets and at this same casino, and I have yet to win any of them. And I guess that should turn around. But got out the door. Got out the door quick and easy because what does Casino Wisdom 81 teach us? Casino Wisdom number 81 teaches us ABC. Always be casino wing. And that's exactly what I was. I got home. I repacked. I regrouped. I prepped the car, made sure we had plenty of gas, made sure we had plenty of snacks, and Mrs. TRG got home from teaching school, and we got on the road off to Casino 1, because Casino 1 was more than happy to comp us Friday night and Saturday night. So we had 2 hours east, little bit south to Casino 1. Unfortunately, the only thing about Casino 1 that isn't pretty close to perfect is that it's not part of a national reward system. It is just a casino, and I don't mean this as a pejorative. It is just a casino and hotel that we use because it's very nice. And in situations like this, despite the fact that they were fully booked for the weekend, I sent a text on Wednesday when they were fully booked. They were happy to comp us Friday and Saturday night. Bubba came through for us once again. And so now we are set up to do Friday night, Saturday night, date weekend, casino lifestyle, hang out, eat some good food, get some free money to gamble with. And started out by losing a fair amount in terms of number of tables, couple losing tables, and then a little break. And then caught fire at the final table and finished the evening with a nice win, larger than what we'd lost. And then we had an interesting little plan for Saturday morning. I always like to talk about casino clusters and casino routes. Casinos that are on the way to another casino are a casino route. Casinos that are close enough together to be exploited as part of the same trip are a casino cluster. And in this case, home casino is the second casino in the cluster. And so you might be saying, if it's your home casino, TRG, why is it just a day trip? And the reason is they had no comps for us. For whatever reason, we had no comps available. And so why pay for a room? Just stay at Casino 1 where they're happy to comp us. Saturday morning, get up. There is a great brunch place right near our home casino, Casino 2. So we drive the hour over. We have a nice brunch. Mrs. TRG, the big reason for going is Mrs. TRG had a decent chunk of free slot play, and she played it on the Heidi's Beer Hall, I think it's called, slot machine. And her second win, she gets all these free spins. She had a nice chunk of free slot play, and she won double what she was given. I had a free bet, played that on a blackjack table, left with a small profit, paid for our expenses for the trip, and had a little money left over, and headed back to Casino 1, where now it is after 12 o'clock noon, and so we have free bets and free slot play to play. Did those, had a wonderful afternoon, spent a lot of time at a craps table. Once again, low stakes, small win, a lot of points. Went to the sports bar for dinner. And after dinner, we did give back at the blackjack tables some of what we'd won. We finished the trip with a modest win, just a very small win to add to everything else. But casino lifestyle, sometimes this is a job. Sometimes this is a grind, especially when I'm at my local casino. Sometimes it's pop in, win, leave. Sometimes it's playing for points in a way that makes sense. This was date weekend. 2 nights, casino lifestyle, and we won enough money to pay for it and have a little left over. We are not complaining about that at all. We are fans of that. In the summer, we do that almost every weekend, little less during the school year, but wonderful trip. We had a lot of fun. ate some good meals, went to a good brunch, and came home with more than what we started with. So that wraps up the week. There was one more day left in the month. I will document that later in the virtual VIP lounge when I review the month, and we will find out if we won or lost money, cash or otherwise, when we spend time together at the end of the episode. Before we do that, however, let's share a moment of casino wisdom. Somehow we've managed to have a bit of a theme here a little bit, which is TRG makes a mistake, TRG learns from his mistake, TRG teaches all you so that hopefully you do not make the same mistakes. So when I was with Mrs. TRG at our home casino getting our free bets, I was given an option and I took the free bet, not the option. And it reminded me after the fact that, and when I realized I'd made a mistake, it reminded me of Casino Wisdom number 23. And Casino Wisdom number 23 is always play your free bets strategically. And the strategic part of that is important both in the big picture and in the kind of small, nuanced way I want to talk about it today. You see, playing your free bet strategically can mean, okay, I'm given X dollars of an X dollar free bet. And so I'm going to take that amount of money out of my buy-in. I'm not going to buy in for the normal full amount. I'm not going to buy in for 10 bets. Let's take it easy, right? Suppose you're playing a $10 table and you're given a $10 free bet. Well, that's now one of your 10 bets. So when you buy in, if you're playing your free bet strategically, you buy in with $10 less. You buy in with $90. You have your $10 free bet. And now you can strategically bet at any time you would bet $10. Doesn't really matter. Simple example, but that's often what I mean when I say in Casino Wisdom number 23, always play your free bets strategically. And they can be other ways and other things, right? If you're normally playing $10 bets and you're given a $90 free bet, well, then maybe you want to strategically bet that on red or black on roulette or on baccarat so that you don't have to break out a whole lot of money and split and double or play incorrectly. Right? That could also be a strategic way to play that amount of money if it really exceeds your normal bet range. So here's the interesting one I had. I go to the kiosk, swipe my card, put in my PIN, tap on promotions. It says, do I want a free bet worth 3 cents on the $1 a day scale? And we'll talk about that more in a minute, but when we get to the VIP lounge. But the $1 a day scale is I convert something I'm given to what it would be if I only earned $1 a day. So I did not get a 3 cent free bet. I got a free bet that would be worth 3 cents if I only earned $1 a day. I converted it to that scale. And so I could have that 3 cent free bet, or I could have a 5 cent, once again, converted to the $1 a day scale. I could have a 5 cent deposit of my cash, which is the My Choice free tax-free imaginary money that you can spend in their properties any way you wish. I could have 5 cents in my cash. And I took the free bet because obviously free bet's going to be money. And then I realized I did it wrong once I made the bet and lost. So let's think about this the way I thought about it. Let me talk you through the mistake from my point of view. I was given the equivalent of 3 cents. I went to a blackjack table and I wagered that 3 cents. And when I did that, I had an approximately 50-50 chance that I was going to get 3 cents. If I lost the wager, I was not going to have the 3 cents. And if I won the wager, they were going to take the coupon away and they were going to pay me the mathematical equivalent of 3 cents on the $1 a day scale. So 50-50 chance of ending up with 3 cents. However, there was a 100% chance that if I took the other option, that they were going to deposit 5 cents of imaginary tax-free imaginary money into my account. And additional knowledge, in the My Choice system, that is doubled if I spend it. It's worth, in this case, 5 cents if I want to put it in a slot machine, but it is worth 10 cents if I want to spend it. So if I want to go get a meal, if I want to go to the sports bar and we want to have drinks and we want to have dinner the way we did just a few weeks ago for Valentine's Day, it is going to be worth 10 cents on the $1 a day scale. If we want to go to their food court and we want to get a quick something to eat, we can just spend that free tax-free imaginary money. The right strategic way to make this choice with this free bet versus my cash, free bet versus tax-free imaginary money, is to look at it and say, almost triple the amount of money that I have a 50% chance of win that I will 100% receive. That's the right answer. The right answer is not to take the free bet. I didn't need this money to gamble. I had a choice between a 50-50 chance at 3 cents and a 100% chance at 10 cents. And that 10 cents was very spendable and very usable. I can use it to get a hotel room on the Las Vegas Strip. I can use it to get a dinner during a date night or a date weekend when we are visiting Casino 2, our home casino. I can use it when I'm there by myself to get dinner or breakfast. It makes a lot more sense to take a guaranteed 10 cents than to take a 50-50 3 cents. So that was my mistake. That was my, after the fact, should have realized it was a new choice. It's not a choice they'd been giving me previously. In the moment, in the quick, at the kiosk, I just reacted out of habit. I didn't really break it down in my head. And now that I have, I know the right answer next time. I will skip the modest free bet and take the much larger amount of free tax-free imaginary money and just let them deposit that into my account, and I will enjoy it that way. All right. Our final stop for this episode is the Virtual VIP Lounge, where we will review the results for the month of February 2022. And let's get a little bit of the bubbly and do that next.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the Casino Combat Virtual VIP Lounge, where we have the best virtual everything virtually all the time. We are going to use the Virtual VIP Lounge today to review the team's results for the month of January 2022. Please. It's a VIP lounge, everybody. If you have something at hand and you can have a sip of some type, I encourage you to do so. If not, virtually pour yourself something to virtually enjoy while we go through this. I'm a firm believer that often amongst good casino friends, VIP lounges in casinos are often where real results get shared. That you're having a beverage, somebody sits down, how's your day going? And you often get real results. And that's what I try to use the Virtual VIP Lounge for on a fairly regular basis. One of the things I learned by doing these monthly reviews is how much I benefit from them, how much I benefit from sitting down and looking at totals and looking at numbers and looking at how the month transpired. It is amazing to me how much the human mind will forget from just a few weeks ago on something that's done regularly and repetitively. And so I get a lot of value personally out of this. But the reason I share it with all of you publicly, beyond the idea that that's the way real friends behave, that's the way real casino allies behave, is that there's no reason for you to trust that what I do works if you don't hear real results. I do not want to be that person, and I'm not casting aspersions on people that do this. People can do online what they want to do online, and I'm not knocking anybody for whatever works for them. But I see these social media channels, these social media contents, and if you're not paying much attention, you would be led to believe that all these people do is put money in slot machines and get hand pays. And, big payouts, big dollar amounts consistently over and over and over again. I just don't think that's possible. I don't think that's true. And that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm also not trying to brag. I'm not trying to impress you. I know for a fact that I have listeners who get a lot more in comps than I get, who play at bigger dollar levels than I play. I'm trying to show you, have tried to show you since I started this podcast, that with a relatively modest amount of money, that you can win consistently and be hosted consistently in nice places and consistently given meals and consistently given gifts. And that's what these segments once a month are for. Before I get into it, I'm sorry, I should have started with this. There was 1 month left how do I want to say that? The last day of February was a Monday. I didn't include it in my travel results. I did gamble locally. I did receive a free gift. I did receive a match bet. I did receive comped parking, and I did win a day's pay on that very last day of February that was not part of our results segment today. So, if you have not joined us for one of these before, or if it's been a while and you've forgotten, I take all of our results and I divide them by my day's pay amount, the amount that I would like to win in a day that I didn't go to work, but did go to work at a casino. It's my number. I've used it for years. It's what I try to win when it's just me, not a trip, just locally. And so I convert everything as if I only earned $1 a day, because I divide all the numbers by my day's pay number, because once again, I have listeners that live in countries where $5 a day or $10 a day is a good wage. And I am sure I have people that listen that make thousands and thousands of dollars a day. And I don't want to get caught up in those numbers. I don't want to get caught up in the idea of, oh, wow, that's a lot, or oh, wow, that's little. If we're just talking purely dollar amounts. So if you earn $10 a day, and I tell you that we won $3.99 playing at table games this past month, multiply 3.99 times $10, and you will understand what that would mean in your life. Likewise, if you make $10,000, multiply 10,000 by 3.99, and you will understand how that would impact your life. So, all those ground rules laid out, disclaimers in place, beverages poured, we did. In the month of February 2022, we won $3.99 on the $1 a day scale. We did that with playing 75 blackjack tables, 44 of which were losing and 31 of which were winning, which means, once again, and it's almost repetitive, but it needs to be repeated, we had way more losing tables than winning, but we won a decent amount of money in cash because we manage our entrances and exits very well. We keep our negative exits very reasonable, and we're off the table. And when we're winning, we either keep the win, or if it runs, we let it go until we get to a reasonable end, but we walk away once we've won our units with a profit. We played 17 craps tables over the course of the month. 10 of them were winning, 7 were losing. We won money on both types of table games for the month. Roughly $1 of the $3.99 won at table games was from the game of craps. We are starting to get better. We are starting to dial in the beta version of craps play for Casino Combat, the use 6, win 6, as I've been kind of using as a working topic. It's become a meaningful part of what we do, and I don't have it figured out. I'm not telling you that you can do what I do and beat it. I can tell you this month, we won about a day's pay, $1 on the dollar a day scale, and that was a nice win. We played 22 slot machines using TRG slot strategy El Numero Dos. That's playing with our own money. 11 of them were winning and 11 of them were losing. We, however, lost 99 cents on the $1 a day scale playing those 22 machines. We were given 55 cents in free slot play, and we won 45 cents. So a losing month on slot machines using the two strategies together, and a final cash profit from gambling of $3.44 cash money. We had $1.86 in expenses, so that's a $1.58 profit after expenses. Little more than a day and a half's pay. Not a huge profit, but that is 5 months in a row with cash profit after expenses. Consistent winning months, one after another. Which leads us to the next point. What else did we get? We received $4.07 in comps, 1 cent in match bets, which shows you we're not going places where we get a lot of match bets, because we had $3.08 in free bets. Think about that, folks. 3 days pay, a little over 3 days pay in money to gamble with. And we received 45 cents in gifts. Total value from the gambling, what we got into our lives in total. Cash, rooms, food, meals, and money to gamble with. Apparently food and meals are different for some reason. Take the whole thing together and add it all up. It's $10.48 worth of value into our lives. Over 10 days pay in value. That's 2 weeks pay, folks. When I say side hustle and people go, oh, side hustle. Yep. I understand it's a young person's word, and I understand it's not the same as driving pizza and having X dollars at the end of the night, but it's the equivalent in value of a paycheck. And we had a whole lot of fun doing it. We would have spent more than one of... Cut that out. When I talk about living a casino lifestyle by being good at casino gambling, that's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to describe. That process of finishing a month ahead on cash, having spent a fair amount of time living in casinos, dining in casinos, partying in casinos, seeing shows in casinos, all those things that casinos provide, and then having all that value for free and some extra money at the end of the month. And then, as we always do, having had fun, having won money, having put that money into a variety of small things in our lives, having put some of it away for taxes, having put some of it away for future losses just in case, it's on to the next month. Please, tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host. Remember your wisdoms, everybody. Don't tip away your wins. I have spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening.